and sit down.
Hey guys, welcome back to another Some Assembly Required, or is required. I'm not allowed to say that apparently. But this is a weekly podcast where we have Rich from Australia and me from England talking about stuff and Lego. And if you don't know the joke there, that's because he's actually from New Zealand. But yeah, we just do this ramblings of two grumpy old men, I suppose, talking about the Lego community as well as just bits that have gone on in our lives. So if you haven't and you've randomly come onto this, how about subscribing? Because we've only got like 3 people that watch this, so it would always be nice to have a fourth. But anyways, do you want to get into it, Rich?
I do. How have you been, mate? How have you been this week?
I'm good, thank you. So for people that don't know as well, it's early for me in the morning and it's late for Rich at night. And apparently you've just been getting your kids to bed or in front of a movie. Did you say stuff in their
faces?
They
got a movie, and I'm having an apple juice as well.
I'm having a coffee. Mine's not an Irish coffee either. Mine's a normal coffee.
It's that time of day, man. It's that time of day. I'm flying solo. My partner's out doing some bowling, 10-pin bowling with the work crowd.
Bowling.
Yeah.
It's always a work thing, isn't it, to do bowling?
It's always a work. Yes, yeah. No one goes bowling unless it's like a team building exercise or some sort of.
or laser. Do you remember that laser tag? It was called Quasar in the UK. I used to love that. But that was only
my boy did that recently. Actually, he did that recently with his some sort of school party or something like that. One of the kids. I was quite jealous because I bet it's come a long way in 20 years since I was doing it.
I used to love it. Quasar, serious fun with a laser gun. It was called in the UK. And it was
serious
great
fun with a laser gun.
Yeah, that was the tagline for it. But I always remember at the end, you used to get scores. So if people don't know what it is, it's like you have packs on you basically with like targets that people shoot you at with like laser guns. Basically, it's a bit of fun. And at the end, you used to get a score of how good you were. And my friend, who was not very good at it, used to always have the one that said, like a lamb to slaughter, was literally his scorecard. Used to say that on it.
Like a lamb to slaughter. I remember we turned up at this one once. It was for some kids' party. We must have been in our early teens or something like that. And he turned up wearing like a white T-shirt and if I remember rightly as well, like his jeans were a little bit too short, so you could see the white socks. Then he had like white shoes on, and it was like those purple lights. So the dude stuck out like a sore thumb. He was like this fluorescent moving target.
Literally like Michael Jackson or Prince, so they're dancing around the...
It was good stuff. But
anyways, there's been lots of stuff in the Lego community this week in regards to you. We were actually just talking about this just before the... we clicked record basically, and it's really interesting, which is to do with the BrickLink stuff. Now, I haven't really got into it because I've been trying not to buy ridiculously expensive sets recently, so I did see on my Discord people talking about it. But do you want to talk about which ones there were BrickScene, and also like which ones are still available, which is quite funny as well?
I'm just trying to pull them up. Here's that whole thing of me being completely not prepared for anything.
Whilst you're doing that, I have seen the initial thing of people laughing at the Bionicle community, which I always think is a bit funny. Which is the fact that their set is, I think, one of the only ones that hasn't sold out. But to be fair to them, it's not really a Bionicle set, is it? It's a Lego set with Bionicle theme. So I think that's a bit silly,
there was a few in there. There was some that were obviously going to be popular, like the castle in the forest. I was surprised the boat did so well. Actually, do you know which sets they were?
So I've seen the castle, I've seen the boat. There's also like a budgie. Isn't there like a budgerigar? A
See, you say that. It's actually a kakapo. It's a kiwi bird. It's made by a dude from New Zealand. And people obviously on the local pages here have been going absolutely nuts trying to get that one over the line today. So
yeah,
congratulations to him. It got over the line as well. It made
obviously I haven't even looked at it as much, and that's one of the ones I remember. So you can tell how good the set is. Like, I remember it looks pretty decent. And then, like I said, I saw the Bionicle one because I saw the people laughing about it, which I just think's a bit, come on, guys, who cares? If Bionicle guys like it, buy it, If people want Bionicle back. To be fair, Lego pumping out so many sets, just let them bring Bionicle back, What's the worst that's going to happen? Oh, there's a jingle. We've got added effects.
Funny. I mean, they got that last vote, didn't they? They came through strong on that last vote. Where were they on this vote? The Bionicle one. I'm just sorry. I'm now in it. So the Bionicle one.
So it's like Legends. A 20th anniversary, isn't it, or something?
I think the particle accelerator may have done slightly worse, but it didn't even get to halfway for the 3,000 pre-orders. The
Right.
Kakapo made it over the line, so I'm looking. It looks roughly just shy of 4,000 orders. And then the Pursuit of Flight, the Sheriff's Safe. That was a bit of a weird one as well.
That to me, there's more of like what Lego are doing at the moment with like the typewriter and stuff, though, isn't it? Really, it's like a real world
correct. Yeah.
thing.
The Great Fishing Boat looks stunning, and of course the castle, and everyone's going to jump.
Well, that
over
fishing
the
boat, I
castle
think people are buying to go with the old fishing store, aren't they? I reckon they'd go really well together.
That's right. That is right. Yeah. No. I mean, I think they're really well priced. I mean, I'm looking at the prices here. The fishing boat was about £100.
Yeah, that's what I was really surprised at, actually, because when I saw these originally and they were like, oh, we're going to bring them, I was like, well, they're going to be like £500-600 each. And I was saying that as a thing, because if you wanted to back each one, if they all went over the line, you'd be stuffed with money. And then I had a look at them, and they weren't that bad. Although you have shown me today something else that's ridiculous, which is actually what they are on the aftermarket.
That's right. So, for example, the Castle in the Forest was selling for 300 New Zealand. So we're talking roughly £150, right?
Yeah.
They are going for 1,150, 1,880 or 890 odd dollars. So between $890 and $1,150 on eBay. Now, bear in mind that these are not going to be shipped until 2022. So we're talking people, and these listings were up immediately. Like someone basically got their claim in, or purchased it, and then
has anyone bought it yet? Has there been any completed, or don't you know?
Not that I didn't look at completed. I just basically took what was for sale and thought, look at this, look at these guys trying it on. Look, someone will probably buy them. That's the sad and unfortunate thing here. But I guess here's my point with this whole thing. This is where I'm going with this subject. Is where does being someone who, look, I'm not against people investing in Lego. It's you buy a product, you can do whatever you want with it. I completely understand that, and that is the same with this case here. God, we've talked about this in the past. I've come from shoe collecting, that side of things. I mean, this has been going on for a couple of decades. People buying up and selling them off at a profit immediately because they've managed to get their hands on them.
I think Lego did see that. I did think Lego saw that, the community, with the first Lego shoes when we tried to get hold of them, because it was then
correct.
It was the shoe. I didn't even get to see them. It was just like,
no. This was the thing. Is this is where I felt that the Lego community, and this maybe being a bit harsh, but the Lego community was a bit naive on that one, and they thought that, hey, they were, this is a Lego product. We're going to get our chance to get our hands on this Adidas Lego product. It's almost like the shoe collectors were not even factored into the equation, and the fact that these guys have got so much more experience on the chase, and getting things day one, having their they're people in the know and all that sort of stuff. So, look, I just felt that this was really weird, because the boat was even worse. The boat had a bigger markup. The boat was 200 New Zealand dollars, £100, going for the same sort of money, over 1,000 New Zealand dollars on eBay.
So I saw that there were people trying to get them, which is what I found interesting. So was there only a limited amount of them you could buy, or was it?
Correct. So you had to hit 3,000 pre-orders to get it fully funded.
Yeah.
And then basically 5,000 units is the maximum.
I don't understand why there was a maximum.
I don't understand why there was a maximum neither, because that is what has absolutely caused this problem.
Yeah, well, especially if you've got 2 years anyway, they'll just manufacture the things. I don't understand what the issue would be. Like, as someone who's in graphic design, and I understand this because I take things to printers a lot. If you're making more, it's cheaper per unit. That's just fact. So if you've got how many you've got 2 years. Yeah.
Yeah, well, why has that not been? I don't understand the limit. I mean, maybe
it's not like BrickScene's a separate company now. It's owned by Lego, so they can just set the machines to whatever Lego set they want to pump out the the relevant bags and stuff and put it. So to me, I just feel like sometimes I think Lego does it to strengthen its brand, almost like, oh, this is going to be a limited run. So almost it wants to falsely create that FOMO, which it's not falsely creating it. It's actually creating the FOMO.
It's actually creating it. But then again, look, I mean, we could, you can't be angry at a company for doing that.
No.
I mean, I wouldn't have had Lego as the type of company who would do it, but then again, I'm going to come back to the shoe collecting world.
Yeah.
Limited runs on sneakers, custom sneakers, like promotional versions of things, as well. The
Yeah.
same as it is in Lego, the more sort of rare or less there is around of them, the more sought after they are.
Oh,
I
100%.
can appreciate that.
100%. I think
So I've got no problem with this, in the sense that this happens all the time,
yeah.
and this person has managed to buy them and has now listed them at these ridiculous prices. But okay, there's the moral side of it.
Well, I was going to say,
which doesn't come into play when someone's making money, to be honest.
I do want to counteract the Lego thing a little bit, because I completely agree with you. It's within the company's rights; they want to make money and stuff. However, I do think that this comes back to what they did last week with their Lego Con, and how they're trying to perceive themselves as a company. I feel like sometimes they don't understand their ethic, and what they're trying to do as a company when they talk about ethics and stuff. And then on the flip side, they do stuff like this. So it kind of doesn't feel like the company's fully understanding what it wants, what its mission statement is. I feel sometimes like they talk about how, Lego's for everybody and things, but then they do a conference that's aimed at 6-year-olds. And and then they shout at people like they're in land for covering leaks and stuff. However, they can't cover their own marketing. They need to sort that out for it. It's just stuff like that. I just feel like sometimes they're just a little bit off the ball, and I feel like this is the case with this. I understand about them being exclusive, but 5,000 units globally is ridiculous. I mean, that's more than
a castle.
Exclusive.
Well, especially when you've got a castle theme in the mix, and the set looks pretty good.
And I believe that the website crashed as well. So people that were there and were eager still couldn't get them anyway because the site kept crashing.
Oh, really? I didn't even try. I heard there was a very slow, painful process. I heard.
Yeah, I've only seen on Twitter, through Twitter. Like I said, I didn't even bother because I wasn't going to raise my stress levels like I did with the Ulysses gift with purchase.
They don't interest me in the slightest, to be honest. I mean, I don't get me wrong. I'm not. I don't think they're bad things at all, and I can understand why people really want to get their hands on them. But for me, it's a non-starter. I have zero interest. These are the failed idea sets,
Yeah. Well, there's also no exclusivity in them because they won't print specialist stuff for them. I wouldn't have thought. So you could just
I don't know.
You could probably just part them out anyway. But I think it's the experience of getting the box and stuff. Although I bin the boxes, I'm one of those people. So.
Yeah, I'm heading that way. You did it this week, didn't you? You binned your boxes this week. Have we talked about this before yet?
I've still got the boxes. These are the modulars right here. You can see, but I am doing a clean up a bit up here. I'm trying to get it more sorted. But yeah, I've got rid of basically all the other boxes. I've got some really old boxes that I got rid of, which were hard. I had some of the SpongeBob SquarePants boxes.
Oh man,
the sail barge, obviously because that was a recent one, but that was really hard because it was one that I remember having in my hand and going, "Nah, I'm not going to get this," and then obviously getting it 7 years later or whatever, and then really finding it. I've obviously still got that Ewok Village sealed, and I don't know what I'm going to do with that box because that's going to be hard to part.
It's a nice looking box. Looking box.
I think the only box I'm 100% never going to sell is my my champagne set. I'm going to call it, which I don't even know when I'm going to open it. Which is my original Cloud City set that's still sealed. When I open, I can't ever sell the box for that. Like the box, I think the box is going for 500 quid online.
I was going to say the box would probably be worth more than most sets, wouldn't it? That's the.
I suppose if I ever wanted to sell the box, I could, I suppose, to get some money back. But it was pretty crazy actually. I actually bought that just randomly off of. I bought that set because I couldn't find a good conditioned Boba Fett from that set anywhere because they all seem to have hairline fractures or.
So you bought the entire set?
Yeah, it was easier to get the set. The figure was going for like 700 quid on its own.
I don't even want to ask you what you paid for the entire set.
Well, I actually think I got the set for a fantastic price. And it was so good, in fact, that I actually opened it just to see if it was legit because I was that worried.
Really?
Yeah, I had to open it because it was all sealed. It looked, obviously it is real, but I had to open it to see if it was real. Because I got the whole set brand new, immaculate. The box is immaculate for £1,700, where it's going for like about 5 to 7 at the moment on eBay. So,
jeez.
So I think I did all right.
I mean, that see, like, and we'll come back to the exclusivity and all that sort of to bring that back into it. You know, that is a set that's over time gained its value, and I have absolutely zero problems with something like that. I don't. I'm not one of those guys who thinks that it's. I mean, I know where my limits are and what I can afford and what I'm willing to spend my money on, and I think that's probably quite a good thing. Like that's just off my radar. So much. It
was off my radar. It was off my radar.
Yeah.
The only reason it was on my radar was because, like I said, I've been trying to collect all the.
But it's £1,700. That's $3,400. That's just not even.
And I always say the funny thing is, people always go, "Oh, it's an investment," but it's not an investment, because when you have love for something, you're not investing in it because you're 100% never going to sell it. So it's not an investment.
And that also comes back to getting rid of your boxes. You know, it's like, what if you know, like in all honesty, I mean, you might sell all your Lego one day, but it's not really going to be.
Well, this is the thing any less,
worth anything less, because there's the boxes.
Yeah, you can still sell them without the boxes. What are you going to get? Oh, an extra £20 or something. Who really cares? And to me, I do feel like with Lego, especially more the recent sets, and I think a lot of people have said this, the artwork on them isn't that great anyway, because it's literally just a photograph of the Lego set with a black border. I think it looks really nice in the shops. I think it makes it look premium. But in terms of box coolness, whereas if you look at I don't know if you know what the Star Wars Vintage, you know what Star Wars Vintage Collection is. The Kenner back cards, they look nice. Like, they look, you don't want to open the figure because they actually look better in the packet than they do out of the packet sometimes.
But as an adult as well, though, there is nothing. This is we talked about Kenner, those sort of figures quite a bit now, and I was sort of thinking about it the other day, and it's like there is no final. Well, the final product is exactly what you see through the plastic. Do you know what I mean? So like there is absolutely no point in buying those because buying those and opening those. Sorry,
you can't even move their arms. Their arms are literally the same. It is in the packet.
But there's just no point. There's no point opening them because they display well in their boxes, and that is, I guess that I do wonder if maybe the secondary market for those is worse. Well, of course, it's going to be worse than the secondary market for Lego. Do you know what I mean? Like what is the markdown if you don't have the box? Are they worth anything if you don't have the box?
It's not even that, Rich. It actually, so I don't know if you know what this is, but there's a thing called grading, which is where you can send off your stuff. If you have slight dinks, if your bubble, which is the case, if that slightly has even slight starting of yellowing, it massively devalues the figure. Absolutely. Everything.
No, I understand that.
So no, the Star Wars ones, even if you have this is how mad some of the Kenner ones are. There can be a £500 difference on if it's been punched at the tops. You know the little tab where it used to go on the pegs? If that hasn't been unpunched, it's worth more because there's stuff like that. So there's crazy amounts for serious collectors of that stuff. Like you just think, mental. Oh my god!
That's too. I mean, this.
It takes it to.
Maybe I'm not a true collector then. In the sense that
I think there's different.
Nothing comes inside. Nothing comes through my door and stays closed. I've told you this many times. As that, honestly, if I picked up the $3,500 Lego set, there is no two ways about it. That is going to be opened, and I'm going to build it because I'm not going to pass that on to the next person for them to enjoy opening.
So the reason I've got it is the fact that I haven't actually paid it off yet. I bought it and then I pay a bit of it off each month, so I don't even really feel that I've 0% interest and all that kind of stuff. But I just bought it. I've got the money to pay it, but it was just like, well, I'll just slowly pay.
I just don't want to see it dent me.
And
that's a fair enough way to look at it.
And also, I bought it for an achievement that I want to do at some point. So maybe if I get to 50k or 20k, it might be 10k at this rate. The rate it's going up. But I've got the Ewok Village for that. I bought the Ewok Village going. I want to get to 10k. I'm going to live stream that. And so I bought it for myself as like almost like a trophy, like a clap on the back. You've done something. It might not even be for the YouTube channel, but I've got it there as something. Maybe I get a promotion or something, and I go right.
Yeah,
getting that out,
yeah.
as
A reason to celebrate, man. A reason to
yeah,
celebrate.
and that's why I call it my champagne set. It's my. Some people might have a champagne in the fridge. Let's get the champagne. I'm like,
No,
right,
I
let's
just get
pop
out a little
open
knife and
Cloud
I'm going to
City.
carefully slice these tape bits open
Let's
and put that box down really neatly, just in case I don't throw it away. Right?
yeah, let's pop open the Cloud City and get that Boba Fett out.
You're gonna slice open those bags like with a
Oh,
little craft
the
knife.
old bags are so much different though to the new ones as well. Like they have little
They won't
Star
be
Wars
numbered,
written
will
on
they?
them and stuff. No, they're
You'll
not.
just be opening them all up. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
but it's interesting because like going back to like you say prices and how things fluctuate. I don't think it is just Lego. Like you said, there's trainers as well. But I also think that a lot of people since lockdown have been getting more into it because
Mhm,
things like interest rates and stuff haven't been doing as well for people that invest their money. So I think a lot of people have
mhm,
been saying, well, invest in physical objects. I think that's what people have seen with the Kenner stuff. So a lot more people have been buying these graded things because they know that there's a physical value to them that they won't depreciate. And I think
mhm.
Lego's starting to go in that direction as well. I don't know if you agree with me or not, but that's where I think it's
No,
going.
no. I mean, it's like buying precious metals in the old days.
Mm.
It's you're almost banking money, aren't you? But I think there's probably a risk that it all of a sudden, well, I
Will
don't
crash.
know, it crashes or becomes
I
really uncool really quickly for
I
some reason.
think
I can't think of anything. Well, I can't think
well,
of
I do
anything
think at the
straight
moment
away. But
Lego are producing too many sets, which I do definitely think does
mhm,
hinder um,
mhm.
things like that.
Well,
Because when I remember when I started
as a
out,
mm,
like for instance, Ewok Village. If you think of Ewok Village when that came out, can you name any other massive UCS sets that came out that year? Even
there was a couple of years there where we got a couple of big sets. I think there was a couple of years where we got two UCS sets, if I remember right. Yeah, I can't be 100%, but I definitely feel across the themes there is a heck of a lot more. I
yeah,
felt that I could keep up with getting the stuff that I
I
wanted
I don't
not so
think
long
there's I don't
ago.
think there's a difference in volume of sets. I think it's more
No?
the amount of sets that are more expensive. I think that's what it is. I think there are
Yeah,
more sets
probably.
that are 100 plus price now. That like for every 2 weeks we're getting like Adidas shoe or like I said typewriter. I mean, just think about this. Like, and I think because we're in the community, like the sets that have only just come out that we're already done with and they're on the back burner. For instance, the Winnie the Pooh set. Is anyone talking about it now?
No.
You know, and that was massive. Everyone was like, "Oh, you're getting the Winnie the Pooh, you're getting the shuttle." It's just
Yeah,
like
came
they
and
just
went.
even the world map. That's like I forgot that even came out. Like
Yeah, Lego's biggest ever set.
yeah,
You
well
know,
the Colosseum.
it's
No one talks about it anymore. Like, like because they're like it's that constant rat race of oh I've got to get the next thing. And I saw Holly did a video on this recently saying Lego isn't everything. Appreciate what you've got in terms of
mhm.
collecting. And I feel like there is at the moment like people. It's a constant like oh I need to get the next thing now. I need to get the next thing now. Like we're the new Star Wars sets haven't come out and people are already talking about what's going to be coming out in January. We haven't even
Yeah.
got the latest Star Wars sets at the moment.
Is there a bit of competitiveness there? I don't know. It's almost a
Yeah, I think so.
subconscious sort of thing. Who was it? Michaela Not Okay was talking about this earlier. Talking about things like this, and that's what I think. I think there's almost that little bit of competitiveness. When it comes to I it's not
I think
even.
it's I think the YouTube
It's right
algorithm doesn't
across the
help.
board, man. Well, it's not just YouTube, like you go onto the Facebook pages here in New Zealand. It's the
Yeah,
same thing, man. Like it's the same thing. People are
yeah.
just, it's a constant thing. And hey, I was doing that there for a while as well. I think I've
Yeah,
only
well,
recently started calming
I'm,
down
I'm one of the
and
biggest. I'm
going,
one of the biggest things. I mean, I got 10,000 subscribers almost within a year because of that. Because there wasn't anything amazing with my channel. I was just
mm,
pumping out reviews that people are like, oh, this
yeah,
guy's going to keep buying the sets. We'll see what this mug has to
and
say
that,
about them.
yeah,
You know.
that's it. And you almost don't appreciate what you've got like that because
Well, if you
that's the same
look
as
at
it's
this,
the same as how quickly Lego are pumping these sets
yeah,
out. You're going through them and you're having to move things around in your collection, and all of a sudden you're, something that you've only bought a couple of months ago, you're breaking down, chucking in a bag, and putting away in a box. That's
yeah.
For me, anyway, because I don't have the space to just add and add and
Oh,
add.
well,
I
I don't
have
even have
created a bit more
shelving.
space now, but
Yeah, I mean, well, I've been looking at trying to measure up. Like I said, I think I've said this before for shelving because I've run out
yeah,
of space massively. You know,
yeah,
and that's where I think you can start to look at your sets and appreciate certain ones. So, for instance, the Millennium Falcon, I can't find anywhere to put that thing, but it's never getting
no.
broke down because I love it so much. So you can tell them that there's
Oh, let
appreciation
me
for
let
that
me let
set.
me
That
let me tell you something about that as well. I broke mine down at one point and put it all back into the bags in the order that I that it came in and all that sort of stuff, so it would make it an easier build again.
yeah,
And then there was a show. Actually, it was the last show we did down one of the beach towns here in New Zealand, and it was just the last one before COVID, before the lockdowns. And someone said, "Oh, I got invited to it last minute." Said, "Hey, we need some Star Wars stuff. Do you want to come down and show some stuff off?" I was like, "Ah, sweet as." So I was like, "Okay, I'll build the Falcon." So I built it over a weekend, and the second time you build it is a chore.
it
So
was a chore the
it,
first time I built it.
well, I enjoyed it the first time because you're like, oh, like this massive thing coming together. But no, the second time I was well and truly over it.
Yeah.
It didn't take long.
I
Didn't take
always
long.
remember with that build, you start building it, you start seeing the shape come together in Technic, and you're like, oh my goodness, this is massive. But then I
And
felt
then you
like
just
once you'd built the little rooms, which is cool,
mm,
then it starts going into like all the front bits, which are just like they're just getting covered up, and you're like, oh, I'm bored now. I want to finish it. Or like the landing gear times seven or whatever it is. Like, oh, I've got to do that
yeah, you just
elephant
have to keep on building. That was like an
foot.
entire step, wasn't it? Yeah, just
Yeah.
just doing the landing gear. Oh, but look, like you say, the finished article,
Oh,
what
it's
you end up
incredible.
with is something special, and
Yeah.
you know like we've discussed again previously, that the rumored UCS AT-AT I've got high hopes for, as well as being something that's going to be on par with the
The,
Star Destroyer and the
yeah,
Falcon.
the gunship and the AT-AT to me, I'm really torn about whether to buy them. And it's not because they're not going to be fantastic. I think they are. My worry is that they're just going to be so big. I don't know where I'm going to put them, and that's my kind of like because to me at
I
the moment,
I
my Slave One and my Millennium Falcon, they're my two biggest sets really that I have that I want to give breathing room to. And other than that, it's like what like for instance, gardens at the moment it's just pushed all the way back there, Ninjago Gardens, because they're so big. You have
mm,
nowhere to properly display them, and I just worry like with the AT-AT, it's going to need to have that presence, And I just don't know where I could, especially up here. I've got no height. It'd have to be on the floor. It'd be as big as the dog.
well, yeah, I'm going to put a little table down here behind me that's going to
Mm,
house the Star Destroyer on it. I just, yeah. Oh, look, I'll make space for it. I'll find a place
yeah,
to to put it. Might even get it in the lounge. You never know. Sneak that one in.
that's where you start. That's it. That's a downward spiral.
I've actually, I think I've told you this before, though. I have actually bought a coffee table for my Falcon. So I've bought this really
Right.
cool sort of square, rounded corners with this black glass top that the Falcon will sit underneath. That hopefully will be dark enough and put some lights in there, etc. It's a 1 day plan, but I own the coffee table and I own the
That's
Falcon,
awesome.
so I've got the
I've
two
got
pieces for it.
the
So
Bricks Max kit for the Millennium Falcon. It looks really nice. It's a chore to put the lights in, but it does look good afterwards. So you could do
okay.
something like that potentially. You could get a light kit for it.
Yeah, I don't. Those light kits. Funnily enough, you mentioned that because that's something I'm going to be looking at soon. I've got the light kit for Ninjago City, so I'm
Mm.
keen to put that one in. But I'm not really interested in putting them in any of the Star Wars sets. Um,
Yeah, I haven't put them
I
in
just
any
yeah.
others. The Millennium Falcon's the one that I lit up because I knew I wasn't going to take it apart. And
Mm,
it does look really good. There's some you can get.
mm.
There's some really expensive ones. You get to have like sound effects and stuff in them as well. They put like a sound speaker inside and things, and you get
Interesting.
yeah. They're
Interesting.
really expensive though, but kind of cool. I suppose a bit gimmicky, but
Have you got lights for your Ninjago stuff, your city, your garden,
got it for
and
gardens. I've actually done City. City is lit up.
mhm,
I've still got gardens and the docks to do as well at some point.
mhm.
That was not
Yeah.
fun. It's not
Yeah,
fun to
don't
put
tell me
a
that.
in
Which
there.
ones are they? Are they? Because I think I've got the Light My Bricks. Is that the
I've
company?
got the Bricks Max ones, but they're pretty much
Okay.
the same. I think there's not
Same
much
sort of thing,
difference
are
in
they?
them. Yeah,
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to putting it together. I think it'll be a fun thing to do.
yeah.
But
The modulars
going
aren't too
after what you
bad.
just
The
said.
modulars,
Yeah.
when you do the modulars, the bottom floor is the hardest because you're lighting
Mhm.
up and taking all the tiles off. Then once you get to the next floors, there isn't as much lighting to put in, so
Okay.
it's not as complicated as it was for the other bits. But with Ninjago City and stuff, every single because there's so many little bits there's so many intricate lights you keep adding in that it becomes it's just massive. But
And then,
when
yeah,
it's
they've got
done, it
those
looks
little sort of
fantastic.
those little bulb lights hanging off the
Yeah,
railings and things like that as well. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Okay.
So once they're
I
done, it
see.
does look incredible. But
Yeah.
I think that was one thing that I was disappointed about with the Lego Con was when they originally showed that. I thought they were doing official Lego lighting
Lighting.
kits, and
Oh, I would have
we
been
got
more
that.
excited about that than some sort of Lego con thing. You know, like
Oh,
I would have been. That would have been way cooler.
yeah, the Lego Con was just yeah that. But but yeah, so we've talked about what I suppose the rising price of Lego. So have you actually? Is there any sets this year that you're 100% going to get before the end of the year, or are you? Is there anything that you're bar the 8080
Well,
maybe in the gunship?
we've been talking about doing this other project, this whole budget thing, and
Yeah.
if you don't mind me sort of talking about
No,
what
no.
I would have talked about, because we were actually planning on doing it last month, you know. So my last month, I actually didn't spend anything on Lego as
Boom.
such. I didn't buy any sets for the entire month of June. But what I came out from it with was some sets that I managed to get from the toy shop that I do some work with or do some sponsorship for. So I had some stuff to make content on. I got the Creator Castle. I got
Harry and
the
Hermione.
Harry and Hermione, the forks as well. And then I did a swap for some modular buildings, like I was telling you as well. So I managed to get the detective's office, the brick bank, and one other Parisian restaurant, I think it was, by doing some swaps. Got rid of my Tower Bridge and Big Ben. So I felt that I actually did all right last month, and heck, that's more sets than most would get in a month. I totally
Mm,
understand that. So I feel like I actually ended up getting quite a bit without actually getting the wallet out, which was kind of cool. So hence the budget this month went on all the shelving and
yeah.
this new light that I'm using at the moment as well, which I'll need to set up all a little bit better. But yeah, so so going back to what you were saying is that yes, I've been saving my money a little bit and not spending on Lego in anticipation of these two massive UCS sets that are apparently on the horizon. Look, it's such a bloody kicker that one's going to be, they're not. None of them are cheap. Put it that way.
No.
They're both high end, in the prices, So yeah, I think I'll probably just get all the I'm going to get all the Star Wars stuff. That's what I'm going to get towards the end. Not the
Yeah.
smaller sets, of course, but the bigger ones, and hopefully nothing else comes out and takes me by surprise.
Don't think
Like
there
they did
will
with
be
the
this year.
XO one.
Yeah.
Oh, I think there's probably going to be quite a few surprises to come, and there's probably going to be a ton of things that's going to make me go, "Damn it, I want that." But yeah,
Well, I
I'm
think
going
the
to
Home
try and
Alone
be pretty
set. I
good.
think the Home Alone set's coming out this year. I think. Maybe that's optimistic, but
If that's
I
a
think
if that's a Christmas thing, if that's like around Christmas, which would sort of tie in with that movie and
yeah,
its setting, I might be able to handle that. But
yeah.
yeah,
So
there's not. Yeah. What about yourself?
I've started something that's not Lego, obviously with the toy collecting stuff, but actually, technically, I suppose fake Lego people would call it. But I finally caved in and got some Mega Constructs He-Man stuff.
Okay.
And do you
Okay.
know what? It's pretty cool.
Uh,
I bought it just to try it out. Like I haven't bought the castle or anything. I just bought like some of the smaller sets just to see what it's all about. Now, and I agree the physical Lego pieces or whatever you call it, the bricks, they're not as high quality. Um, but they do a lot more custom molding stuff. So, like for instance, it actually comes with Battle Cat, which is the green cat for people who don't know. But he
mhm.
has custom armor. He's completely built as well. He's got custom helmet. And then you look at it and you go, "This is really good." And like Lego, then they've taken what 20 years to make an elephant again or something. You just think, these guys. You get He-Man, for instance. He comes with his actual hero sword, his axe, the shields.
Mhm.
Merman comes with his actual spear and his actual custom sword. And you think, and I understand that the quality might not be there, but the tooling's there. If you're not tooling, is to actually make these products. Um, so Lego can do that as well, and I do feel like sometimes we should have had maybe custom lightsabers by now. Like unique ones to each person. We should have had a bit cooler stuff, and I do think like some of these companies are starting to catch up with them. And it
Yeah.
was an interesting thought because I was thinking to myself, I only grabbed this because it's He-Man, and I love He-Man and Master of the Universe, and I've been getting back into it again recently from my childhood, and so I saw them and was like, I'm going to grab these. But it did make me think, if Lego didn't own Harry Potter and Star Wars licensing, do you think it would be as strong as it is at the moment? Or do you think that if they lost those licenses, there could be, it could be struggling. It could be a company that maybe starts to struggle.
They do have a lot of licenses
Mm.
that's, things like, with Porsche, where they're banging out they've obviously got things
Yeah.
there sort of going on behind
And
the scenes.
like a
I think there's
Lamborghini as
probably,
well.
yeah, I think there's a lot of, National Geographic was another one, obviously, that I've
Yeah.
seen recently.
Disney in it though.
Huh?
National
Is it
Geographic's
Disney?
part of
Is it?
Disney. Yeah.
That's true. That is true. That is true. So if you're saying if they lost the Disney license, is that what you're trying to say? Look, yeah, they'd obviously have. Yeah, they probably wouldn't be half as popular. Put it that way.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people who are into it just for that. It would be a massive kicker if all of a sudden they lost the license to Star Wars. But then again, what would that do to the price of your Star Wars Lego sets?
Yes. Exactly.
Could you imagine that? Let's bring it back to that. So what would that do to the price of your Lego Star Wars sets if all of a sudden they lost the license, and what we've got in the last 21 years, that's it, 22 years, whatever it is, that's it. That's it. I mean, don't get me wrong, Lego will always be around and there'll always be custom stuff, etc. But yeah, what do you
Yeah, it would massively. I mean, I know certain minifigures are jumping at the moment due to the fact that they've not made them in quite a while. So yeah, if you just think they'll never make them again, that would be,
that'd be crazy.
Big. Well, it's things like SpongeBob and Scooby Doo and stuff. They have skyrocketed because people are wondering they're never going to make them again. So, they do those sets then do skyrocket.
Or anything with the prints, to go with those sets as well. Yeah,
yeah, I do wonder, like, if someone like Mega Constructs managed to get the license for it, you'd think, wow. I don't think it will. I'm not saying it will.
Do Mega Constructs in any of those? Like, this is me asking, and someone might be able to tell me in the chat. Anyone who's listening to this, I don't know if anyone who's into these alternative bricks, but like the Kobe stuff, the Mega Construct stuff, does any of it? Is there anything in there that holds its value or has gone up in value significantly? Because I know they've got some licenses, like Mega Construct's got Halo, and they've had some other Game of Thrones as well, haven't they?
They've got Game of Thrones, Halo, Masters of the Universe, and Pokemon. Pokemon's a new one that I'm really interested in because I've always wanted Lego to do Pokemon. I actually did a thing where I bought some terrible Etsy ones that were awful, and they actually started doing Pokemon Mega Constructs now, and I'm thinking, well, that's going to be better than fake Lego. So yeah, it's interesting because what this is what kind of made me think about it actually was the Pokemon ones because or however you say it, I say Pokemon because Pokemon is co-owned by Nintendo.
Okay.
It's Nintendo and Game Freak own the license to Pokemon, and so obviously that goes into potentially would Mario go over to Mega Constructs, and if Mega Constructs, they're not the kind of company that will not do what their fans want, which I think is really nice. So for instance, the He-Man sets, you can just buy the figures. They come in little packs. You just buy the figure you want. They don't like stick it in a massive set and go, oh, you've got to buy that big set to get this figure. So if they started doing that and then selling Mario minifigures. And,
but is that through necessity, though? Is that through necessity?
Yes, I think it is. I think it's the fact that their brand's not strong that they can do that. I completely agree. But I think it would be interesting if maybe even the fact that, because I know SpongeBob, they had SpongeBob license as well, I believe. I might be completely going off on one now, but people started buying it because they couldn't get the Lego one. So it would be interesting to see, like, if Mega Constructs got the license, they went, well, we're just going to do Mario figures and Mario sets based on the figures. Would it do well compared to the likes of the Mario?
It'd probably do well relatively. It would probably do well. As far as there would be a vast majority, I'd say, just wouldn't go there because of the fact that it's the brand of the block. So
do you still feel like there's still that core Lego people won't buy the fake Lego, as we call it, the
I
non-official, the non-Lego
I
Lego.
I have zero interest in buying
Mm,
any fake Lego or any alternative brand. That's what we'll call it. Let's not say
yeah,
fake Lego, because some of them are definitely becoming more popular. Well, it seems so, more popular, and better quality by the sounds of things as well. Some of these
yeah.
Kobe sets that these guys over in the UK that are over your neck of the woods that are reviewing, that some of them seem like pretty good quality sets.
Oh, the Kobe stuff.
Nice.
I got a big load of bricks from some one of my friends that didn't want any of his Lego anymore, and he had Kobe in there, and it was impossible to tell the difference in terms of quality to the bricks. They even have Kobe written on the top where Lego's written, so at the blink of an eye, you'd think that they're the same, and you can
Interesting.
only really tell that the colours are different. And actually, some of the shades of Kobe colours are nicer than some of the Lego shades.
Is that
They have
right?
a really nice like tan nougat colour that actually
Mm-hmm.
doesn't look as like in your face. It's really because
Mm-hmm.
obviously it's for tanks, probably more desert tanks is what I'm guessing. Looks really
Mm-hmm.
nice, but you could tell. I was like, oh, that's a nice colour. Oh, it's Kobe. Like
And
that
that's
was
the thing;
how I
those
was
guys,
finding
those
it.
guys are not, what you say, tanks. There, they're not afraid to touch those
No,
military themes. Those,
but I think that's where they're getting. They're grabbing the thing that Lego won't touch
mm,
and
mm,
carving out a niche. And I think, like I said, stuff like Mega Constructs is kind of doing that same thing. Because again, I think Mega Constructs looked at the marketplace, especially with the Masters of the Universe stuff. They looked at the marketplace going, Lego's not actually just for kids. So they're making these things that are 80s icon stuff, or like things that adults will still be into, like Halo, like
yep.
Masters of the Universe. There's only going to be older people that are into that. Like
Oh,
the kids are
absolutely.
going to
It's the
be into,
30 plus. I
yeah,
mean, there is that talk of that new TV show coming up, but it hasn't come out yet, has it? So
Revelations. Yeah, it's out 23rd of July in the
I
UK.
can't. Is it? Is it? I can't wait. I can't wait to see that. Actually,
Yeah, it's gonna be
that's
awesome.
going to be pretty cool.
But yeah, it's stuff like that. And I think again, Pokemon is something that I grew up with as a kid. So I think that spans everything, especially Pokemon Go, bringing it back.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
so I just think it's quite interesting that these companies do seem to be getting some pretty big licenses now that maybe Lego wouldn't have originally touched. So that's why they're getting them, or I don't know. I don't know. It's just interesting because you would have thought again, like with Pokemon, why didn't Lego get that license? Because they've obviously been spending a lot of time dealing with Nintendo to get the Mario license, and then people were speculating, oh, we could get Zelda, we could get. Well, obviously they're
Yeah.
still doing licenses with other companies because Pokemon is Nintendo and it's not owned
And
by.
surely Nintendo would have understood that by having Pokemon with
It's a competing
Mega
brand.
Constructs. Well, no, yeah, it's a competing brand, but surely they know that the market that brand has,
Mm,
out there as pales in significance to Lego. So, if they wanted to if it was all about selling a ton of product, you'd
yeah,
think that they would have wanted the license to be with Lego.
yeah,
You'd think so anyway. You'd think
yeah.
so.
Unless they got a better deal
Interesting.
with
That
someone
is
like Mega
interesting.
Constructs, where they got a higher percentage per unit sold, and it may
Yeah,
have
but even
changed.
then, it would have to be such. You think about. Look at
Um,
this. Okay, let's say that little Mario stuff, because that Mario stuff has been popular.
yeah,
As far as sales go, that actual Mario.
yeah.
Let's say that came out in Mega Constructs. The difference in price for that to make any difference as far as the price per unit goes, they'd have to sell it for 100-fold. Honestly,
Yeah,
it would have to be so expensive to make the same money.
I think it
Surely.
depends. I think it depends because Mega Constructs, I think, is owned by quite a big company. I can't remember who owns it.
Mm,
And I do wonder whether they are happy to make a loss to get that chunk. Is that what Apple
yeah,
do
but
with a lot of their stuff? They
yeah, true.
literally take a loss on things because if you think like because I was quite interested with the Master Universe stuff. The price per piece is the same as Lego. It's no cheaper. They
No.
don't they don't make it any cheaper.
Yeah, but that's how they
But
can afford to do all those custom molds and all
yeah,
that sort of
well, that's
stuff
what I was
as
looking
well.
at because when I originally
Because
thought I was like, why this is trash. The bricks aren't
mm,
as good. But then you're like, well, they've made this little merman. He's like this big.
mm,
He's got all custom
mm,
stuff. Like custom armor that you clip on so like you say, yeah, they have to obviously pay for the tooling for that. Um,
mm.
so obviously that's where the money goes. But in terms of potentially like if say Master of the Universe was like Lego, they've gone to Lego and Lego say, yeah, we'll do that, but you're only getting 1%. Mega Constructs might go, well, we'll give you 50%. then it does make a difference in terms of units
I,
sold.
I just don't think that Mega Constructs is not in every single store here. Okay, New
Well,
Zealand's a small place, so I
it's quite big
expect that,
here. It's quite big here.
it's something that people walk straight past to get to the Lego aisle. You know, it's not.
Choosing like conveniently placed next to it to try and sell it.
It is always conveniently placed next to it, and you see people. It's like the buffer. So people get to the end of the Lego aisle and go, "Oh, I've reached the end because I've hit the Mega Construct stuff. I better turn back." The other way, it's almost like a subconscious buffer. Oh, okay, I've got.
Or sometimes you may go, "Oh, Lego doing Pokemon now." Oh no, it's Mega Constructs. Put that back.
Well, I have actually seen from, and I'm talking maybe 20 meters away, I've seen a Mega Construct set and gone, is that a new Lego set? What's that?
Yeah.
I've gotten over there and gone, oh, it's Mega Constructs. I think it was a Game of Thrones set as well, and I love Game of Thrones, but
yeah,
the fact that those two things, building blocks and Game of Thrones have met in Mega Constructs does not make me want to buy it in the slightest. If it was Lego, day one purchase for me.
Day one, yeah. And I think that is quite interesting because because like I said, I bought this Mega Constructs Master Universe stuff last week, and Craigster, he then posted on his Insta, basically he had I think it's concept art, he said, from a Lego designer of Master Universe in Lego, and I saw it and I was like, where's this? I need it now.
Yeah.
And that was the difference. It was like, I need this. Where can I buy this? Because I thought it was a genuine set. But yeah, and that shows the difference, doesn't it? It's like
I see that. Bring it back to Lego. I see that the Elsa's Castle has come out today. Man, I wish that was Castle Grayskull. I wish that's what they decided to do instead at that price point as well. It would have been great. But hey,
how much is that Elsa set? How much is that?
So it's $380 in New Zealand. So $379 New Zealand dollars. So that's what, about €190 £190, sorry.
Because so for instance, at the moment, Amazon have the Castle Grayskull for $170, the Mega Constructs one. So it's
funnily enough, I probably would still buy Elsa's Castle over that because it's Lego. How sad is that?
That's sad.
That is how much this company
because
or this
realistically,
the marketing has got me hook, line, and sinker.
If you were showing your collection, say like someone who wasn't into Lego came to your house and you're showing your collection, they would know that wasn't Lego. If you had,
I know, and it would look great on my shelf.
It would look fantastic.
So why have I got no interest?
Yeah. I've started gaining more interest for it, but the problem is it's not a day one purchase. Like you say, this thing was out 2 years ago, and they've re-released it because of the Netflix stuff, I think.
But do you know you said it's £170, right? Yeah. So that's 340 New Zealand dollars. That's a R2D2. That's roughly what R2D2 costs here. So, to me, that's just taking away money that I could be spending on R2D2.
Yeah.
Or Elsa's Castle. It's as silly as it sounds. I would sooner spend the money on frickin' Elsa's Castle.
Is that because you think
the realization is just coming? This is coming over me like a wave. The realization that this is what I've turned into.
Is that because you see the value in Lego to resell? Yes. Maybe
it's not going to be. Yes. If I pop my clogs tomorrow and I want my family to sell it on, then I'd rather they had all Lego to sell than trying to sort of sift through and sell something else. Maybe there's something wrong with that.
Yeah, because this is what you're going back before with the Master Universe thing. You're asking, like, do they hold their value on the aftermarket? And obviously, I don't think they do. I don't know. I'm guessing that they probably don't hold their value.
Have you looked up on eBay to see for second-hand one?
Yeah, they were going for like 300. They were going up for 300 quid sealed before, so they have doubled in price.
So they have doubled in price in 2 years, you reckon? That's quicker than a Lego set would go up.
But I think it's because people are starting to now venture to these other. That's what I'm saying. I do think that it was just an interest, because I've been looking at toys as a whole. I've been looking at toys as a whole because, like I said, I've been trying to not. Because I was looking at it from the YouTube thing, because obviously, when you're looking at YouTube, like you're saying, there's competitiveness and you're always out there. And what's really interesting, I find, for a Lego YouTuber channel is that you are literally devoted to one company. That's it. And that's not a good thing as a channel to invest in, because, like you say, if that plummets or you lose interest in the product, or other people use, or Lego decided to raise their prices, or for instance, you don't get into LAN and you can't get free Lego sets. There's all that kind of stuff that you are then stuck, because you've just got this one
Yeah,
product.
that's
Whereas,
if I was doing this to take it in, seriously or anything
exactly,
like that. I
exactly,
mean, if I was reliant on this as an income, as a
as an income.
livelihood or something like,
Yeah,
yeah,
which again,
that's
neither of us are, and neither of us care. But the point I'm making is that, like, it was interesting. That's why I started looking at other stuff to see, like, what I was just more interested in, and had I become
mm,
engulfed by this one brand, which I obviously had, like. But
mm,
when I started on other toys, like I was saying before, that collective thing gets you in your brain, and you start collecting. But it's why I was looking at the Mega Bloks, and like I said, I looked at it constructively when I bought this, like, one of these sets, like 25 quid. And like I said, I did see that the build quality is not there, the quality of the sets, and also, like, they just make parts if it doesn't work. Like, oh, we need this
mm.
dish piece. We'll just make a dish
Yeah,
piece instead of,
we need something to connect on that angle. We'll just make a piece
yeah,
that sort of
exactly.
bridges
Whereas,
that
like, Lego
gap. Yeah, yeah.
designers would have gone, well, we'll use the pieces we have, and maybe they might bring out one new piece to make that,
Mm,
but
mm.
they wouldn't. But like I said, the pricing of these sets looks like they do hold, but I don't know whether it's just because it's a certain license, or I'd be interested to see how
Mm.
much the Halo stuff goes
Oh,
for.
but that
I know
would
there
be
was like,
Lego. Lego would be the same as well. Like, you can't say that city stuff goes up in price.
no,
Like, I mean, that's the pieces are as good as any other piece that comes in any other set, but they don't go up in price.
but
It's it was
this goes back to what we were saying before, though, with the licensing. If they lost the licensing,
mm.
would, because obviously, like you're saying there, the bricks don't hold their value as much. If it's something that's a
Here's
non-licensed thing, like Hidden
oh,
Side, for
look,
instance. I mean,
if they
video,
lost the
they can't give
license,
them away
if
in the UK. Video, they can't give
no,
it
but
away.
yeah. But if they lost such a significant license, such as Star, mind you, well, Star Wars is well, it is. I'm not even going to say it potentially is. It is bigger than Harry Potter, but they did lose the Harry Potter license there for a while. What did those sets do in the aftermarket while they didn't have the license? They did go up in price. They became sought after, and I think Star Wars, if today was the end of it, and they were moving to mega constructs tomorrow, let's say, yes, mega constructs might feel that they've won the lottery, but I can guarantee that
Definitely
probably only 20% at most would go from Lego to them. I certainly wouldn't. Well, not at this stage anyway. But hang on, but licensing and sorry, Karen.
I was just going to say, but the point I was saying is that I think it would damage Lego's brand, because what the aftermarket doesn't matter. That's the aftermarket. I just feel like it might actually damage the company more than. And this is what I think a lot of people have said. This does Lego need Star Wars more than Star Wars needs Lego? And it's just an interesting point, really. Well, I've looked at things like.
I think it may have been like that for quite some time. I think it may have been that way for quite some time, but I think now
it's getting to a point where they're as strong as each other.
Finally, I think. Yeah, and I think that Lego are pulling out enough now and have enough different themes, and I mean, you just look at the like we started off by saying, the amount of sets that are coming out at the moment. It's almost like it's a spread and shoot sort of type thing, and just see where it lands. And if like the botanicals have done well, for example, hey, I guarantee next year you're going to see twice the amount of botanical sets. I just think that's going to happen.
I think it's interesting. Again, going back, I mean, you can tell my brain's working today. But like, we were originally started as well with the BrickLink sets. None of those are licensed yet. They all sold out instantly. So
just because they're a limited run of something that anyone can probably source the parts and put them together. In fact, someone today. One of the BrickLink, because we've got a local Facebook group for the BrickLink store owners in New Zealand here.
Yeah.
And the guy who helped me out, the guy who gave me the Ewok village to give away, actually, Andrew, he put up a post today saying, by the way, if you were to part out, I can't remember which set it was, from New Zealand stores, it's cheaper than buying the BrickLink set as it was as a set today on the thing, So
but you don't get the box.
Oh well, that's which
and you don't get the physical
which
instructions.
apparently you're hiffing straight out these days. So that's all
Yeah,
wasted
well,
on you, isn't it? You
yeah.
know.
Oh,
So
exactly. I wouldn't care.
you know.
That would not
But
bother me
look,
at all.
talking about licensing, this is what I was going to say. Funnily enough, and this is something new to talk about, is that pickup truck has been
Mm,
announced out of nowhere. No one managed to leak that one for some reason. Apparently, it had the same
it was the
number that
DeLorean.
everyone thought it was the DeLorean. Funniest looking DeLorean I have ever seen, I must
Well,
say. But
technically, it's kind of in Back to the Future. It looks a bit like the thing that they drive into with the horse manure in. You know
with a
the.
horseman, that's true. Actually, no. Look, it's a nice looking set, but it's got no license attached to it. It's
Mm,
just a pickup truck. Now, I'm just trying to think back, and maybe I'm just missing something, but I'm trying to think the last creator car that came out that didn't have a brand associated with it.
I don't think there is one.
So this is Lego
But
dipping their toes, and that's
technically,
car.
technically, if you're on about a non-existent car, then obviously there's the Batmobile because it doesn't actually exist.
No. Yeah.
But
No, but that's obviously tight. I'm talking about.
a non-licensed,
So it's almost like your city cars. You know,
yeah,
it's just a
electric
car. It's a
vehicle, which
car.
is just like 4 bricks.
Yeah. They always make the electric vehicles look like they were made in 1986. They look like tiny little cars, you know. But yeah. So I think this is a really interesting one, and the comments that I've seen on Instagram subsequent to the announcement has been really positive. But
Mm,
it's I mean, like I said to you, I'm a car guy, but I don't collect the cars because I'd probably want them all.
yeah,
But I can assure you now, I wouldn't want that pickup.
yeah.
If it was a Chevy pickup, I might have been
Well,
interested.
it looks a bit like a Chevy pickup, doesn't it? But
And,
it's
look,
not,
and
like you
that's
say.
exactly what they've made it
But
to look like, or an old Ford,
do,
or an old,
do
whatever,
you think they've done it
something
on
like that.
purpose though to maybe test the waters to go? Oh, maybe
I
we
think
don't
so.
need to do license stuff
I
to
think
sell
so.
these.
I
Yeah.
think so. So it's just going to be a nice looking model. Whereas the Porsche, it's a classic Porsche. You know, the Mustang is a
Well,
classic
it's
Mustang.
even like the Ecto One is a Cadillac, isn't? It's got that. You know what it is. It's a cool car.
It,
The Ecto One. It's still a real car that they've had to get the licensing for the car.
yep.
Um, you
So
know,
yeah, I mean, I
it's
I
like
don't
it's like the
know
night. It's like the
why this one's come out
Batmobile.
of nowhere.
It's
You
like the
know,
Batmobile though. If it was called Black Stealth Car or something, and it looked a bit like a Batmobile,
backed
but
by
it
a
wasn't.
Starship.
Yeah. Yeah.
Also, I did see a
Would
really cool comment the other day. Sorry to go back to that Starship. Someone says next they'll be calling it, what was it, Luke's land ship or something like that. It says because they wouldn't want to encourage speeding.
yeah.
It's Luke's land ship. I thought that was a good one, man. But yeah, I look. It's a nice looking sort of vehicle. Don't get me wrong. But it's got some nice clever techniques. Half the build looks like small little things, like bloody.
Mm.
Because it looks like a
Almost
truck
like
to
an
take something
advent
to a
calendar.
farmer's market.
It's like an
Yeah.
advent calendar set. Like here's your 25th of December. You're gonna have all these little bits sprinkled. And
Yeah,
it even has a wreath as one of the things.
it does, doesn't it? It's like a little wheelbarrow. I mean, all those
Yeah,
things are just mess to me. You
the
know, like
things
the
you'll
car
lose.
is what I'd want them on.
You'd
Yeah,
lose them all.
the things that'll frustrate you when it comes time to try and sell it and you're doing an inventory, you
Yeah,
know. But I just don't see the appeal of that. To me, those cars kind of need a license, that scale model, because people put them on a shelf going, wow, that's a Mustang. Oh, that's a,
yeah.
you know, that's
Well,
this,
because
that's that. So,
they're almost like collecting a car. Like they're a car collection that they couldn't physically fit in the garage. That's the whole point. Like, oh, I've got a
exactly.
Mustang or a
And
Lambo.
there's a sort of, you kind of drooled over it maybe I mean, no one drools over a Fiat 500 admittedly, but you know what I mean. It's a classic car, like it's.
Yeah, I do like that original Fiat 500. I'm not gonna lie. I used to like those, but maybe they knew that the mini one sold well, so they decided to do that one.
Well, it's a smaller, it's a smaller price point. They can't just do muscle cars all the time because
Yeah,
they're quite a bit more
is that the only
expensive.
Fiat they've ever done? They've done the other Fiats.
Fiat? No, I haven't seen a Fiat. No,
No.
no other Fiats.
Because like I said, that's the only Fiat they've ever done, isn't it? The 500.
Yeah.
So, wonder if
Oh,
they'd like
Fiat
using it.
themselves?
Yeah, yeah.
No, Fiats. There's heaps of Fiats. What are you talking about?
No, I meant in terms of Lego sets, because obviously they've all,
I
because
thought
like
you meant Fiat the company. I was like, hey, no, they've
no.
done more than
So what
just
I
the
meant is like
500.
the Fiat 500 is the only Lego set they've ever collabed with Fiat on. Is what I mean. So like,
Yes,
because for
yes.
instance, like Mini, we've had a couple of sets where they were in Speed Champions or not.
Mhm.
Um, but I don't. I think that 500 is the only one we've had that's from Fiat. So I'm wondering if there's going to be another one potentially at some point.
Well, there was a bit of time between that Creator Mini and the Speed Champions Mini,
Yeah,
so that could be
yeah.
something that's in the pipeline that they
Ongoing
maybe
license
license it sort of maybe two
agreement.
sets over 5 years or something.
Yeah.
Like I said, no one you don't want two Fiat 500s coming along at once, do
No,
you?
definitely not. Definitely not. But
But
but yeah, like I say, licensing is very interesting, and like I said, it's just something. I think, like I said, I think Lego would be absolutely fine without Star Wars and Harry Potter, but they are big pulls to people that aren't necessarily into Lego. I think they
mm,
are. That's how it got me. I didn't have Lego as a kid. It was the Millennium Falcon that I saw in a store, and I was like, that would be cool on display. Not that one, the smaller one, like the,
mm.
and that's what started me. And then I was like, oh, they do collector's editions, adult sets, and that's where I bought the Slave One. Because it's like, oh, but it comes with a stand, and it's meant for me, not for
And-
children.
yeah, it doesn't have flick fire missiles or anything like that on it.
No,
That
no.
make it, that's a kiddie thing. No, that was my first one out of my dark age as well. Was the playset Star Destroyer, that 75055, I think it is, and the UCS Slave One. So
Mm.
got them for a great price actually. God, wouldn't mind selling those now and getting the money for those, but I couldn't part with them. I couldn't part
Yeah,
with them.
that's the
So
thing, isn't it? That is the
that's where
thing.
I'm at with collecting. It's like the value.
It's the personal value, and I think that's a bit,
That's
when you're on about collecting before and collectors. There are some people that collect card on card, as you call it, in boxes, and that's a
Mhm.
certain type of collector. But I think there's also collectors that it's a personal thing. It's not to do with the value of the set. It's what you want to showcase your personality or what you like. For instance, like that Monkey King mech or whatever in the top corner, I can see that's not going to have any value on the aftermarket because no one cares. It's a
Mm.
license that's Lego
But
license,
it's a great
but
looking
it's a
Lego
great
set.
looking set. So you want to have
Yeah.
it up there to show that you think
Mm.
it's cool, you like mechs, and
Mhm.
and I think that's the difference. Whereas the Wally, two things down, that's probably worth an absolute fortune because it's
Mm.
Wally and it's Disney licensed, but you still want it out because it's part of your collection. So
And maybe I don't treat my Lego very well, but
in
I
your
just
bin
see
of
them as
minifigures,
but I just see them as like when I was at that show last weekend, like I was telling you about before we recorded the last one on Sunday. There is the stuff that I took out there. The value of the stuff that I took out to that show, between the Ghostbusters Firehouse, Ninjago City Gardens, docks, the city is obviously itself. There was a good couple of $1,000s worth of Lego, probably more actually, maybe $3,000 worth of Lego and two 1.8 meter tables there that I was letting kids poke and prod. Well,
bits
trying
falling
not
off.
to, but yeah, well, that's exactly it. And but I get into it,
Yeah, that's the whole point.
have it, to enjoy it, to build it,
Yeah,
to experience it. And if this is probably why that Cloud City that you've bought for $3,500 New Zealand dollars is not on my radar,
yeah.
because I know that I would be the fool that opens it and builds
But
it.
I'm 100% that fool that's going to open it
No,
and build
no,
it.
I'm not saying that.
Yeah, but
In my eyes, I'm happy enough. I bought it and I built it. But but in other people's eyes, it'd be like, that
you're
guy
an idiot.
opened a three
Yeah,
and a half thousand dollar Lego set. It's like opening that vintage bottle of wine and
yeah,
necking it.
yeah.
That would be me.
Or tap water that's £600 or whatever in a bottle. You'd think, oh, I'm going to drink that because I'm thirsty.
Splash on my face because I'm just been for a run. Cheers, bruv.
Oh, thanks, mate.
But that's me.
Or give it to the
through,
dog
man.
in the dog bowl. You thirsty, doggy?
Good for you. Pour one out for my homies. But bringing it back to the shoes as well. It's like people. Some collectors in the world, like there's high profile, obviously, shoe collectors like there is in the Lego community, the guys that have got the big collections. And, one of the messages that I took from that community, if you like, is always wear your shoes, man. Always
Yeah,
wear your
a lot of people
shoes.
don't wear them, though, do they?
Because, no, a lot of people don't. And what they don't realize is that they perish and they become unwearable,
Yeah,
and they will perish before your eyes, even if you just keep them to look at. They will fall apart. So
yeah.
you may as well be the
It's
guy that gets to wear them.
it's like with everything. It's like with Legos, isn't it? People always say, "Oh, don't put it next to sunlight." And all this. It's like, well, if that's the only place it's going to go, there or in a box, I prefer to have it out and on display. If it gets sunlight damage, that's it's just the name of the beast, isn't it? Sadly.
Turn the bricks around the other way, mate. You'll be right.
The whole side of it's just damaged.
I've done that with a couple of sets, man. Just
Get the
literally
paintbrush
pull the
out.
side off and turn
What, is
every
it
brick around
brown?
there. Then you open it up and you look, it's yellow on the inside, but on the outside it's pristine white.
That detector's off.
Looks
Is it
good,
brown
mate.
on the outside? Just get some brown paint. Just dry brush it. Be fine. Right. Anyway, we've actually hit over the hour mark. So if anyone stayed to watch to listen to this, thank you so much for tuning in.
Yeah, I
we
do
do
have
this
to apologise. I've come and hit this one last minute today. I've been flying solo tonight, so it's been swimming lessons with the kids, getting them pizza, shove that down their face, and then sit down and do this. So.
The dog came up for 5 minutes, and I don't know where he's gone now at the house.
So you better go find him.
He might have gone and eaten something, but but yeah, like I said, thank you all for listening. We do these. We're going to try and do it we just at the moment just whack them out. So I think we need to maybe find a time that we put them out, but this will be out probably Sunday night or Monday morning in the UK time, I'm guessing. So yeah, we'll catch you all in the next one. Yeah. Yeah. We'll see you all later, guys. Thanks for listening.
Cheers.